Eddie, I was surprised by the decision, but just
a joke.
Say that again.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
They knew. They told him in the 10th round, you have to knock him out to win this fight.
Who told him, the corner?
Yeah, it's on TV.
Yeah.
They're all standing in the corner. The fight's over. We're in the Bivol's corner. I'm looking around. They are like this. How could you score that fight 8-4 to Artur Beterbiev? Unbelievable. Terrible decision. Terrible decision.
What can be done? What are you guys gonna do to?
Listen, hopefully His Excellency will do the decent thing and give both Bivol a rematch.
I had it very close, a lot of close rounds. I think everybody could agree on that. I had it 2 points at the end for Beterbiev. There were a lot of rounds I thought were very close. Beterbiev flowed strong in the stalled round. But the men's fight, I thought Bivol did a great job of not just being defensive when he had to, but also being...
FightHub.com, was you confident going into the last round?
Listen, that was a kind of mix. We know that was a very, very close fight. But I told Artur, like, we need knockout, we need to go. Because when he put pressure on him, he was alone. And that's exactly what I want to create, like some emotion. Let's stay with him. And I think we win the 2 last round and win the fight.
How did you score it yourself?
Very close. At the end, I was not sure. Like maybe draw, maybe a win, maybe. That was a very close fight, but we win the second part of the fight, of course.
Nah, great, mate. Congratulations. FightHub.com, front of Ben. How did you score that fight?
Beterbiev winning the fight. I see a lot of people online saying Bivol had won it. People I know who are watching the fight on TV said Bivol had won it. Beterbiev winning the fight. I think Bivol started off fast, won the early rounds, started slowing down, and Beterbiev started really dominating.
Think a rematch is granted?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it goes any other way. I think Beterbiev just puts, applies pressure.
I don't know, man. At the end of the fight, I feel like Beterbiev inflicted more damage on Bivol, but Bivol had some rounds where he was just boxing really, really good. He was boxing really, really good. I don't know. He put his head on his head and everything.
Before the fight between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, experts couldn't agree on who had the advantage. Both fighters were in top form, and the hype around the match was huge. So who did the experts think would win? Let's take a look at the predictions before the fight happened. Roy Jones Jr. predicted that the matchup between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol would be an extraordinary fight. He expected both fighters to adapt and approach the bout differently than anticipated. While many thought Beterbiev would rely on his knockout power, Jones believed he might surprise fans by showcasing his boxing skills instead of his usual aggressive style. He saw this as a chance for Beterbiev to prove his versatility, making the fight even more intriguing. After the first fight, Jones described it as a fantastic bout that could have gone either way. He strongly disagreed with the idea that one fighter should have won or lost by 4 points, calling that outcome ridiculous.
Say we need an immediate rematch. Both guys did a lot to change.
He was particularly impressed by Beterbiev's ability to display boxing skills he hadn't seen before, while Bivol showed his sharp counterpunching and defensive abilities, taking an early lead. However, he noted that Beterbiev finished the fight stronger, which led him to believe the bout should have been a draw. In his view, a rematch was necessary to settle the score, and he urged both fighters to return to the ring as soon as possible.
Fight. The first one was a very extraordinary fight. You know what? I thought Bivol might have edged out early, but Beterbiev did come back good late, and both of them fought a little bit different than what they used to fight. So I think what the real thing was, we was expecting to see Artur try to knock him out. Because Artur's winning over from
Get your thoughts on the Beterbiev and Bivol fight. What do you like this?
Ooh, I think Beterbiev is going to do well. I'm a big fan of his. I'm being biased.
Mike Tyson also gave out his opinion on the matchup, and it was no surprise where his loyalty stood. When asked about the fight, Tyson openly admitted, I think Beterbiev is going to do well. I'm a big fan of Beterbiev. I'm being biased. That's not fair to ask me that question. His response made it clear that he had a strong admiration for Beterbiev's aggressive power punching style, and saw him as the more dominant force going into the fight. Tyson's support for Artur Beterbiev wasn't shocking. Looking at Beterbiev's fighting style, it was exactly the kind of approach Tyson loved during his own career. Constant pressure, raw power, and a ruthless ability to finish fights. Before the fight, Beterbiev had knocked out every single opponent he faced, making him one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport. That kind of dominance reminded people of Tyson's own prime, when he would step into the ring, hunt his opponent down, and leave no room for survival. Tyson had always respected fighters who didn't just box to win on points, but instead looked to destroy their opponents from start to finish. In a way, Beterbiev represents that old school mentality Tyson admires. No dancing around, no unnecessary movement, just pure aggression and skill. It's easy to see why Tyson backed a guy like that.
And just one more from me, Beterbiev Bivol, the rematch. What a great fight that is in Saudi. How do you see that playing out, Saudi?
It's gonna be a really good fight again. Both are great fights.
When Canelo was asked about the fight, he responded, "What a great fight that is. It's going to be a really good fight again. Both are great fighters." His words showed the respect he had for both men, acknowledging their skill and toughness. While Canelo didn't pick a clear winner, his response suggested he believed the fight would be just as competitive as their first meeting. Bivol was known for his sharp boxing skills, movement, and ability to control distance, while Beterbiev brought relentless pressure and knockout power. Canelo's past experience with Bivol gave him first-hand knowledge of the Russian's abilities, but he also recognized the threat that Beterbiev posed. With both fighters holding undefeated records and world titles, this rematch was shaping up to be one of the biggest fights in the division. Canelo's simple yet powerful statement, "Both are great fighters," summed up the high level of competition between them. No matter the outcome, he knew fans were in for an intense, action-packed battle. As the fight drew closer, Canelo also pointed out that matchups like this are what make boxing truly special. A showdown between two undefeated champions, each with their own strengths and strategies, is exactly the kind of fight that captivates fans worldwide. He believed that no matter how it played out, it would be a true test of skill, heart, and determination, something every boxing fan could appreciate.
It's a very unique style. I would have to give Dmitry Bivol the advantage here a little bit because he has better footwork, you know. Beterbiev kind of like just stalks you down, you know, and with Bivol, he's just like constantly bam, 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 you know. I love that. He's a good boxer, man, with power. So, and he's got skill up here. It's a tough fight to call. But I'm gonna have to give Dmitry the advantage. I think it's all about respect in the first few rounds. You know, how he's gonna take his punch if he has a chin. I mean, I think Beterbiev has a better chin than Dmitry Bivol. For some reason, I just feel that. I don't know if it's true, but if Dmitry Bivol can catch him, offset him, get him off balance.
Oscar De La Hoya gave his take on the fight, admitting it was a tough one to predict. He pointed out Bivol's impressive footwork and technical skills, saying that gave him a slight edge. But at the same time, he acknowledged Beterbiev's relentless pressure and durability, which made him a dangerous opponent. De La Hoya felt that Beterbiev might have the better chin, but if Bivol could use his movement to control the pace and keep Beterbiev off balance, he could make it a very difficult fight for the Russian powerhouse. "It's a very unique style," De La Hoya said. "I would have to give Dmitry Bivol the advantage here a little bit because he has better footwork. You know, Beterbiev kind of just stalks you down, and with Bivol, he's just like constantly, you know? I love that. He's a good boxer, man, with power, and he's got skill up here." Even though he leaned toward Bivol's movement as the key factor, De La Hoya admitted that Beterbiev's toughness couldn't be ignored. "It's a tough fight to call. But I'm gonna have to give Bivol the advantage. I think it's all about respect in the first few rounds. How he's gonna take his punch if he has a chin. I mean, I think Beterbiev has a better chin than Bivol. For some reason, I just feel that. I don't know if it's true." Still, he stressed that Bivol's footwork could be what makes the difference. But if Bivol can catch him, offset him, get him off balance with his footwork, yeah, it could be a long night for Beterbiev.
I think Bivol's got more skills, but actually I was saying before, I think Bivol. But now I'll swap it around actually, I'll go Beterbiev. He's a monster.
It wasn't just him who was on Bivol's side, but Tim Tszyu also initially believed that Dmitry Bivol had the upper hand going into the fight. He saw Bivol's skill set, footwork, and ability to control distance as key factors that could give him the edge. But as the fight got closer, he started to rethink his prediction. After taking a deeper look at both fighters, he admitted that he was changing his stance. "I think Bivol's got more skills." Chu said it first, backing Bivol's technical approach. However, after reconsidering the matchup, he made a complete switch. "Actually, I was saying before I think Bivol, but now I'll swap it around. Actually, I'll go Beterbiev. Beterbiev, he's a monster." It was Beterbiev's raw power and relentless aggression that ultimately convinced Tiju to change his mind. He recognized that while Bivol was a master of movement and counterpunching, Beterbiev's ability to break opponents down and force them into deep waters made him a serious threat. In Tiju's eyes, Beterbiev isn't just a strong fighter, he is a machine built to destroy whoever stands in front of him.
Might sound a bit silly, but I think the only thing he can do different is throw more punches. But he threw enough the first fight, because I don't think you can. It'd be silly to stand with Beterbiev. It'd be silly to stand with him. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be a repeat of the first fight, maybe even a late.
Hamza Shiraz also didn't see many adjustments that Dmitry Bivol could make to change the outcome of the rematch. In his eyes, Bivol fought well in the first fight, but there wasn't much room for a different approach. Might sound a bit silly, but I think the only thing he can do different is throw more punches, Shiraz said, acknowledging that Bivol had already been active in the first fight. But he threw enough the first fight. For Shiraz, standing and trading with Artur Beterbiev wasn't an option. It'd be silly to stand with BBV, he said, emphasizing the danger Beterbiev presents up close. It'd be silly to stand with him. Looking ahead, Shiraz predicted a repeat of the first fight's result, possibly even more dominant. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be a repeat of the first fight, maybe even a late stoppage for Beterbiev. He believed Beterbiev's relentless power and pressure would eventually overwhelm Bivol, leading to an even clearer victory this time around.
And make no doubt about it, this guy was the boogeyman. As tough as Bivol is mentally, and he is. And that's why I had thought he was going to win the first one, because not just because of his skill set, he's mentally tough enough to deal with a guy like Beterbiev, who we know is mentally tough. And guys like Bivol, who fight the way they do, don't get credit sometimes for being mentally tough. He's mentally tough. So, you still, when you're fighting the boogeyman for the first time, there were still unanswered questions. When the boogeyman knocks at the door, can I handle that knock? Can I handle that knock when I look through the peephole and I see who the hell it is? It's the boogeyman. And the answer was yes. And he didn't know that answer. As much as he's confident, he's a real pro, really, deep down inside, he won't admit it, but he didn't know that answer. And now he knows that answer. And that's going to help Bivol. That can help him a lot. That can help him possibly win a fight that was really a tough.
When it came down to Teddy Atlas, he broke down the psychological battle that comes with stepping into the ring against a fighter like Artur Beterbiev, someone he considers the true boogeyman of the division. For Atlas, fighting Beterbiev is not just a test of skill, but a test of mental fortitude, one that few fighters have been able to pass. When you face the boogeyman, and make no doubt about it, this guy was the boogeyman, Atlas said, reinforcing just how feared Beterbiev has been throughout his career. He pointed out that while Bivol is known for his composure, intelligence, and skill, his greatest strength might actually be his mental toughness. As tough as Bivol is mentally, and he is, that's why I thought he was going to win the first one, Atlas explained. It wasn't just about his boxing skills. He's mentally tough enough to deal with a guy like Beterbiev. Atlas then addressed a common misconception about pressure fighters like Beterbiev. Guys like Beterbiev, who fight the way they do, don't always get credit for being mentally tough, he said. People look at him and see the power, the relentless aggression, but they don't realize that there's a different kind of mental strength needed to fight like that. According to Atlas, Beterbiev's ability to walk through fire, take shots, and keep coming forward with the same intensity round after round is a mindset that requires just as much mental toughness as Bivol's defensive discipline. But what really stood out to Atlas was the psychological element that Bivol had to face in their first fight. When you're fighting the boogeyman for the first time, there were still unanswered questions, he said. No matter how confident you are, there's always that moment where you ask yourself, what happens when the boogeyman knocks at the door? Can I handle that? Can I handle what's coming? For Atlas, this was the key to understanding Bivol's mindset going into that fight. He believes that even though Bivol appeared calm, controlled, and confident deep down, there was still an element of the unknown. As much as he's confident, as much as he's a real pro, really deep down inside, he didn't know that answer, Atlas said. He won't admit it, but he didn't know that answer. But now, after going 12 rounds with Beterbiev and coming out victorious, Bivol knew for this fight. That experience, according to Atlas, could have been the deciding factor in the rematch. And that's going to help Bivol. That can help him a lot, he said. That could help him possibly win a fight that was already a tough, close fight. Atlas suggested that having faced Beterbiev once before, Bivol now carries a new level of confidence. He has already dealt with the relentless pressure, felt the power, and proven that he could handle it. There are no more unanswered questions. The first time, he didn't know for sure. Now he does, Atlas concluded, and that could change everything.
He's going to come out fast, and Dmitry's going to have to be very active, very smart. He's going to have to go through some horrible times in the fight, probably as well. But it's another fight. No one's going to win this fight by a landslide. It's going to be another brilliant fight between two generational greats.
Eddie Hearn also shared his thoughts before the match, saying that while he originally thought Bivol won their first fight, it was very close. He pointed out that Beterbiev finished strong in the later rounds, which made the fight even tougher to call, but he still believed Bivol had done just enough to win. Looking ahead for this fight, Hearn expected Beterbiev to start faster this time around since he took a while to find his rhythm in their first fight. He said Bivol would need to stay busy, fight smart, and be ready to push through some tough moments. Hearn predicted another close battle, with neither fighter having an easy time, making for another exciting matchup. In their first fight, Beterbiev came forward aggressively, throwing a lot of punches to pressure Bivol and stop him from settling into his game plan. He kept closing the distance and forcing exchanges, making things difficult for Bivol. On the other hand, Bivol was more precise, using his jab to control the distance and landing clean shots while avoiding Beterbiev's power. Even though Bivol had the better technique, Beterbiev's non-stop pressure kept him in the fight and helped him edge ahead on the scorecards in the later rounds. Many experts also felt that Beterbiev's aggression played a big role in making the fight so competitive. Many experts had predicted a close contest, but the back and forth battle and unyielding pressure made it an even tougher fight than expected. And now that it's over, what do you think of how it played out compared to the predictions? Did the experts get it right, or was there a surprise twist? Tell us in the comments below.